Hello, baseball fans, and mostly White Sox fans, but hopefully all kinds of baseball fans are tuning in for this interesting look at rewriting history. The world is an insane place, and that's even after having lived for the past 2 years. And there's a lot of sadness, a lot of darkness out there, and that's what video games are for. Just to give yourself a freaking break every so often. I hope everybody's able to find some way to relieve pressure and stress in their lives. And treat themselves to something fun, something like this, maybe, just to think about anything else. Also, it's a bad place because we still don't have baseball to talk about. I did try a little bit to talk about CBA negotiations and also to throw out some ideas of my own. It didn't really go over well. I think people just don't really want to talk about that kind of stuff, which I get it. It's not exciting. It's not fun. If you guys want me to, I'll do one video that just kind of wraps it all up really quickly. Or at least what's going on currently, and then we'll do another one. I'm definitely going to do one eventually once the new CBA comes out, so we can run down and talk about exactly how the future of baseball is going to run. But until then, we just have frustration as the first week of the baseball season is canceled. And I'm definitely, after I do this video, I'm going to get back to putting out and announcing our picks to click winners. I know, I've been talking about it forever. But it's at least it's something fun and baseball related to look forward to because we ain't got nothing else. Oh, and when it comes to this novel idea of rewriting history, I couldn't help but notice that Foolish Bailey, who of course runs Foolish Baseball and has his own side channel called Foolish Bailey, he decided to do something where he re-simulates the entire baseball season starting in the year 2012. Just like me. Where'd you get your idea, Bailey? I'm coming at you. I can't even pretend that he has any idea who the hell I am, because he is one of the top baseball YouTubers out there. But still, I had the idea first. My video came first, so I'm gonna hang my hat on that. If you haven't watched the first installment of this, just go back there. I'll put the link in the description. The idea is that we are going to re-simulate and participate in fixing the White Sox historically. We went through 10 pretty rough years up until it got interesting lately. So we're going to try to improve on each and every single one of those seasons. I have a whole bunch of goals that I'm trying to hit, including having a better year than every previous White Sox team, which it's a pretty low bar, to be quite honest with you. 2012 is actually a good one. The White Sox were a very competitive team. Adam Dunn had his best year with the White Sox. However, if you watched last episode, we already traded him off because he's just not my kind of player. I didn't like it when we signed him in the first place. So I shipped him and a couple of other players out. Also, we got Mark Burley back on the team. I righted that wrong. That should have never happened. Mark Burley is back on the team. He has never picked up a ball to throw a pitch for Toronto or Miami in this new world that we are creating. I said in the last video that we're going to come back in for episode 2 at the All-Star break and then simulate through the trade deadline, which is where I am right now. However, I needed to do some work before then, so I'm going to kick it back to about a month earlier, because even though we started out kind of good in that first week of the season, it went downhill really quick. So first, let's go back in time to see some trades I already made. So as we are just past a month into the first season, well, things haven't gone great. Let's take a peek here. As you see, we have fallen out of first place, and we are behind what the White Sox trended. Final winning percentage real life in 2012 was 5.25 or at 5.16. So my first goal to be better than the actual White Sox every year is not going to be an easy one this first year. I think every year, every season after this, it should be pretty easy. Before we even fully get into the statistics, as you see, Youklis Sanchez is there. I realized that I really needed to add in a lot more minor league players, real life minor league players, because one of the other things I'm doing with this is to never have any computer generated players on this team. And we have had some injury issues. As we see, Paul Guerrero here, he's getting off of a minor injury. Didn't have to be put on the injured list, or the DL, as it was back in the day. But still, Guerrero has missed some time. AJ Przinsky has missed some time. Jake Peavy was on the 14-day injured list, which allowed us to call up a future starter in the man of Jose Quintana. That is somebody that was not in our minor league system. I had to create him. But Youklis Sanchez was another one, and yeah, you see how thin we are when Paul Guerrero goes down, and the person that we have to call up to replace him is Youklis Sanchez. All due respect to Youklis, one of the most fun players to watch in the last several years. But yeah, that's a lot of hitting that is lost. That said, when AJ went down, we brought in Josh Fegley, and he did well. Youklis, you see there, 417 average in limited action. If you go back to the last video, Osvaldo Martinez was somebody that was on the team. He broke camp with us, but I immediately sent him down because in real life, Osvaldo Martinez was a depth piece in the White Sox system, but never played in the major league level with us. He was a Miami player. He got a couple of cups of coffee with Miami, but he really never played in the big leagues again after that. Plus, we had him and Brent Morel on the big league squad, so we needed a fourth outfielder, and I ended up going with Trace Thompson, calling him up from the minors. Of course, we still do have Eduardo Escobar down there. His rankings right now are pretty low, but he's going to force his way onto the team pretty quickly. Pitchers I mentioned, we added Jose Quintana and Andre Rienzo, real-life player, played with us, first Brazilian-born player in the big leagues, if I remember correctly. Scott Carroll, Brian Amagroso, Donnie Beal, down in Double-A right now. So a lot more depth was added from real-life players that were in the White Sox system at this time. Let's go ahead and take a look at how guys have been doing, and you'll see there are some big holes to fill. Now, you'll also remember from the previous video that we traded away Adam Dunn, even though in 2012 he did have a really good year, really his best year by far in a White Sox uniform. That was part of the package to get Mark Buehrle on the team, so absolutely no regrets. And losing him, I put Dayan Viciedo into the DH spot. In real life, he ended up hitting about 25 home runs in 2012. And of course, we did also, the big acquisition was picking up Hanley Ramirez. However, our big issue is those two players. Viciedo, 2 home runs, Ramirez just 1. They aren't hitting. 230 average for Ramirez. He's actually turned it on lately to get up to 230, and Viciedo 208. On base plus slugging, just under 600 for each of them, which is really rough considering that we are depending on those guys to be producers. They have not been producing. That has been a big reason that the White Sox have not been doing well this year. When I took a look at the real life contracts and real life payroll, the 2K Sports version of the White Sox, I'm allowed to go up to about $106 million. The real life White Sox were closer to 100 even on the payroll. So I actually do have a little bit more flexibility than the real life team. And the player salaries are pretty accurate as well, except when you get to, again, the aforementioned Dayan Viciedo. You see only $2 million this year, and in real life, this was the final year of his contract. But in the game, he's getting a little raise, slightly bigger raise, much bigger raise, and then a huge raise. So yeah, I think now is the time to trade Viciedo. He is a guy that has, he's 3 stars right now, 4-star potential if you look at the top right corner. And the fact that he's affordable now might make him more tradable. And Hanley Ramirez is one of our highest paid players by far and is just not performing well at all. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the trigger, see if I can get both of these guys out to get a new DH and third baseman. And if possible, it would be a lot of fun if I could save a little money in the process. Planning ahead a little bit, I was hoping that this was the last year of Jake Peavy's contract and then I could just transition Jose Quintana into the rotation, but I see we do have him for 2 years and he's getting a nice big pay boost next year. Probably not going to be able to move him, but John Danks is also about to get a big raise and I'm going to hold on to him for the remainder of this year, but in the offseason after this year, I might look to try to trade him, and I wouldn't really need to get anything for him. I just need to get this payroll off the books before it gets very difficult to afford him. And again, moving Danks would make room for Jose Quintana to get that promotion. I just wanted to show you what I'm poking around with right now. We have Hanley Ramirez, Dayan Viciedo, and Zach Stewart. Again, in real life, Zach Stewart was the guy that got traded as part of the package to get Kevin Youklis in 2012. Heck, maybe that's going to happen again. The Brewers, I was looking at the best batting averages and home run hitters out there, and Aramis Ramirez was on that list. We see he is trending down. Ryan Braun was on that list. He's super expensive, so we would still save money overall. Yeah, we would actually save money overall doing this trade. But as you see, that interest gauge in the middle is really not in a good place for getting this done, but let's just see what happens. Make this offer, yes. Rejected, yeah, expected. I'm kind of okay to not have Braun on the team. So what if I just go third baseman for third baseman? They do want to make that happen. And I would end up saving a good amount of money on this deal. Aramis would be coming in on a 4-year deal. That's about the same as Ramirez's 3-year deal. So the money would be spread out a lot more. Do I make this trade? It's not a bad trade, especially considering how these two guys are playing this year. This would be tough to beat, I think. I'm going to look around. So another team I wanted to look at was the Rangers. They had a lot of great players back in this time period, and I want to build around, I was thinking Michael Young as a third baseman. Let me just see what it looks like to put Adrian Beltre in there. Yeah, they have no interest in that, and I'm okay with that. He's expensive. I do want to try to save a little money. Michael Young, they totally want to make that happen. He is not exactly cheap, but he's only under contract. Yeah, he's really not cheap. Let's see if we can build something up here. This would be interesting. Nelson Cruz. This is getting more expensive for me, though. Nelson Cruz would be, I mean, talk about a great DH. How is he doing this year? Let's see here. Ooh, basically I would not be improving. Slight improvement, I guess. He does have more home runs. He does have 5-star potential, and that's actually where he's at now. Man alive, Nelson Cruz has just been a beast forever. Let's take a look at Youklis. Is he? I would assume he's over here with the Red Sox. Yeah, there he is. Third base. He's cold. So let's see how he's doing on the season. Just 2 home runs, 276 average, 767 on base plus slugging. That is way better than what we currently have. I'm going to keep this in mind. Well, let's see. Is there anybody else on this team? If we were to put a package together for a DH type, we're not going to get Ortiz. I'm trying to not take franchise type players that likely wouldn't be traded in real life. Oh, as you see here, Vlad Guerrero in the previous video, he was a free agent withering away, and Boston did pick him up. How was his year? 1 home run. On base plus slugging 1300. What? 535 batting average. And I'm guessing very limited. 60 at bats. Not too shabby. Wow. So he is still stellar. Oh, but he's on the DL right now. 42 days on the DL. That's a bummer. I was actually really considering picking up Vlad Guerrero. I have to just check in on Paul Goldschmidt. Again, as I just said, I wouldn't want to pick up a franchise player because it's a little unrealistic. But he himself was traded, and I was really hoping to find a younger player that might not be super expensive yet, who has a huge projectionable future. Let's see. Wow. Okay. I can't say no to this one, right? Paul Goldschmidt is definitely an amazing hitter. He's just 24 years of age at this point. He's 4 stars. I guess they're saying he's at his potential. This would be a huge financial savings too. He's only getting a little over $1 million a year. Oh yeah, we'd still be getting him in his pre-ARB seasons. Now I see he's injured also. Oh boy, what do we got going on? Oh, just 8 days. Dislocated shoulder. That sucks, but it's only 8 days. Ooh. Okay, so Osvaldo Martinez and Diane Viciedo for an injured Paul Goldschmidt, and we still have the more attractive trade piece in Hanley Ramirez to trade, and we still do have Zach Stewart left to trade. If I have a chance to pick up Paul Goldschmidt as our DH, you do it. Wow, that is so awesome. Paul Goldschmidt, welcome to the club. And that's what I was talking about earlier when we were saying, hey, this is a video game. Let's have some fun with it. We don't have to tough it out with Diane Viciedo. We can do some crazy things. And yeah, wow. To have Paul Goldschmidt on the team instead of Diane Viciedo, that's a whole bunch of fun. So yeah, we need a new third baseman if we're going to make something happen here. Scott Rolen. Future, in my opinion, future Hall of Famer, Scott Rolen from the Reds. They are super interested in this trade. Let's take a look here. He's under contract for just 1 more year at $5.2 million, and currently this year, just a 683 on base plus slugging, 215 average. He is having a rough year. Oh, and you see his trend. He's at 4 stars, and he is plummeting. He's been in the league for 16 years. This is a past his prime, Scott Rolen. That's unfortunate. Okay, so I have to go with Aramis Ramirez. It was really close to being a coin toss. They're both 33 years old. Youklis is rated as 85 overall, and Ramirez is 86. Youklis is on a shorter contract, $10 million a year for 2 years, whereas Aramis has a much pricier contract. Actually, not so on a per year level. It's about the same, 38 million, 38 and a half over 4 years. Except the big difference is that Aramis's contract is very backloaded. So if I have him for just 1 year or two, I'd be able to trade him away and get out from the expensive years to take a very Miami Marlins type of approach. So I think we're just going to go ahead and try this out. And here's Mike Fiers hanging out down here in the minor leagues. Maybe I can add him in. Let's give it a shot, see what happens. I'm going to get greedy here, because we could always use some more depth. They are less interested. Let's just see. Make the offer. It's been rejected. What if we add in Brent Morel? Because we do have Eduardo Escobar looking for some playing time. Ooh, they're very interested. Yeah, I'm making this happen. So we are picking up Aramis Ramirez to be our new third baseman, shipping out Hanley Ramirez, and also Brent Morel, who had no future with the team and was not going to be getting much playing time anyway, with Yelmer Sanchez coming up, and also Eduardo Escobar. And meanwhile, we're just getting more really good pitching depth with Michael Fiers, who's at AAA, and this is well before he's going to be an impact arm. So this is some great depth we're picking up in the process. Very happy about this trade. Make it happen. And just like that, we have made some big improvements, and this time I think I actually mean it when I say we will catch up next at the trade deadline. And let's take a look at the standings now. Boom, baby! The White Sox have been hot. We have an 11-game lead over the Tigers in the Central, and we are just at the All-Star break. Aramis Ramirez has been great, and Paul Goldschmidt has also been great. One thing I want to check on really quickly is, would Goldschmidt have made the All-Star team? Okay, so we're not going to go through everybody right now. We're going to let the All-Star rosters reveal themselves, but I did want to check on Paul Goldschmidt, and as you see, a black cross next to his name, which is very ominous. It's because just 2 days before the All-Star break, even though he was having a great season, he broke his thumb. So he's on the injured list now. So even if he was going to go to the All-Star team, he definitely was not going to get called. In real life, Paul Konerko was on the All-Star team, and it doesn't look like he's going to make it in this year. As you see, he's doing all right. He's doing pretty well, actually. 275 average, 16 home runs. That's a very Paul Konerko year right there. And Goldschmidt, 22 home runs, 303 average. I don't know if I think this is his second year, so he's not in the running for Rookie of the Year or anything like that, but he is looking very good. Let's take a look at White Sox stats. Alexi Ramirez is having a great year. He better be All-Star game bound. 23 home runs, 357 batting average. Yeah, he's looking really, really well there. Aramis Ramirez, also solid. Not as much power as I was hoping for, but still a 345 average. Wow. Two A-Rams that are really at the top of the charts when it comes to batting average. Trayce Thompson, he was not supposed to be a regular everyday player for us. Alejandro De Aza did not really do great. Trayce Thompson has become the everyday, it says center field here, but he's playing left field. Alex Rios started out terribly. He's come around a bit, and he's playing great defense, though. So he is our center fielder. Here's AJ. I was hoping to get him to the All-Star game. Kind of AJ light, if you will. A little bit less power than he might normally have at this time of the season, midway through the year. He did have an injury, though. We got to remember that. Still, a batting average around 300, something he did a lot. And here you see Goldie, 303 average, 22 home runs, 60 runs batted in. And there's De Aza. He's come up a bit lately, 286 average. The power is kind of nice, a nice surprise for De Aza, who is a pretty light-hitting guy overall. Brent Lilbridge is another guy that was a bit of a disappointment for much of the year. He is definitely getting some reps here or there. The fact that he can play right field and also fill in the middle infield every so often is keeping him in the lineup. Lilbridge has had his moments, but he's been a bit inconsistent. And there's Paul Konerko. He was right there with Goldschmidt in the low 300s for a while, but he's had a rough patch lately. Alex Rios, like I said, he was in the low 200s for a long time. He's battled to get up to 265 average. And he was a guy with home run power into the mid-20s, so it's a little bit of an off year for him. Still not terrible. His defense is making up for for it. Yolmer Sanchez, who has been called upon over and over again defensively to come up when somebody has gone down with injury. He has gotten more playing time than it was designed. And you see, yeah, he's a rookie getting his first look at the big leagues, 236 batting average, no home runs, no steals. He's doing all right as a fill-in. At this time, he's only 19 years old, though, so there's room for him to grow. Tyler Flowers, with AJ doing so well, Flowers really hasn't gotten too much opportunity, and I'm okay with that. Gordon Beckham has been a pretty big disappointment. He is still a guy that's considered a prospect, although he's getting maybe a little long in the tooth at 25 years old. Only batting 200 even on the year, 2 home runs, 10 RBIs. I don't know how he has that one steal. He's a guy that I thought was going to be my everyday starting second baseman. He has been on the bench. And Marcus Semien, he has getting called up again because of Goldschmidt's injury in very, very limited action, just 7 games, 179 batting average. On the pitching side, whoa, Mark Burley was worth everything we gave up and then some. He is having a fantastic year, 12-2 with a 1.77 ERA. I would hope that he's going to be starting the All-Star game. We shall see. Gavin Floyd, kind of his ERA is good, 3.30, just a 6-5 record though. John Danks, pretty good, 3.31 ERA, 6-2. PV, 8-1 with a 3.68. And then there's Chris Sale, who is, the run prevention numbers are great across the board for our 5 starters. 3.25 ERA, but just a 2-3 record. He's kind of the Jose Quintana of this team right now. Tough luck loser quite a bit. Looking at our bullpen, Brandon McCarthy was our big acquisition, and he has done well. Just a 2.35 ERA across 61 innings pitched. Nice. He has picked up some of those wins, 8-2 in relief. Dylan Axelrod, a sub-3 ERA. Hector Santiago, 2.92. Addison Reed, it says he's cold right now, but and he's got a record of 1-3, but a 3.31 ERA, and he has nailed down 19 saves and 22 opportunities. Pretty good. That is a solid reliever, as he was in real life in 2012. Matt Thornton, not having the best of years, just an 0-3 record with an ERA over 4. Scott Carroll, some of these guys that were smaller role players in real life, that they just got this sporadic moment of major league action here or there. I was really hoping that we could take them under our wing and give them a good career. That will happen at some point in time. I don't think it's going to be for Scott Carroll though. A 5.40 ERA. He is 1-0, but yeah, that is not so great there. Jesse Crane, our right-handed setup option. It has him listed as closer here, of course, because the game is always trying to change things. But a 2.38 ERA. He's doing very well in that role. Again, you see him as a specialist. Only 11 innings pitched. Oh, and Andre Rienzo. He's actually been our main guy that we've been calling up. Just a 64 overall. Oh, and he's got an injury. So I didn't even know about that. What's going on with you, dude? Severe neck sprain. Yikes. 15-day DL. So he is the guy that would usually be up, which maybe is why some other rando is called up. For the time being, now there's a trade that might happen here, but for the time being, I'm going to call up Mike Fiers, who of course was picked up in the trade that you just saw. There's already been 2 trade proposals that have come to us that have both been shot down, but I thought you still would find it interesting. So first, back in the middle of June, the Nationals came to the White Sox. They wanted Juan Cabrera, a AAA guy, Zach Stewart, and our active closer, Addison Reed, in exchange for Tom Gorzolani, who's in AAA, Craig Stammen in AAA, and Chris Marrero. It's one of those trades that I think in real life at this time, the White Sox would have looked really good to pick up Craig Stammen and Tom Gorzolani, but in the world of this game, it's not a good move. I definitely don't want to get rid of our closer in the middle of a playoff hunt and replace him with a guy that is 6 years older and not as highly regarded. The Angels came to us on the 4th of July. Trying to get Dylan Axelrod, Hector Santiago, which is kind of interesting because Santiago did go to Anaheim eventually, and Yolmer Sanchez in exchange for Trevor Bell, K-Rod, and Bobby Wilson. Again, in the world of this game, this is not a good trade, but in real life, could you imagine if we just got Francisco Rodriguez for Axelrod, Santiago, and Yolmer? That would be a trade that the White Sox would do all day, every day. So let's start off our action here by just getting up to the All-Star game. As you see, it is Friday, July 6th, and we are going to, there we go, and we're going to simulate up to the All-Star game and see which White Sox players made it. Let's see, we're not going to participate, but Alexi Ramirez makes the home run derby, let's see, along with, from the Angels, Vernon Wells and Chris Iannetta, Adrian Beltre of the Rangers, Mike Stanton, don't call him Giancarlo yet, with Miami, Michael Kadire, the Rockies, Taylor Green with the Brewers, and Brett Pill, I don't even know that name, from the Giants. Paul Konerko does make it after all. Good, I didn't want to rob him of an all-star appearance. Anyway, Dustin Pedroia, Miguel Cabrera at DH, Joey Bats in center. There's Konerko at first, Beltre at third, Ben Zobrist, and in right field, Dan Jennings in left, Chris Iannetta catching, and Alexi Ramirez at short. On the bench, Justin Morneau, I thought he was going to get the start. Vernon Wells, wait a minute, Brent Lilbridge. Come on, I'm happy to see White Sox players in here, but that's a little bit of a failure with the game. Robinson Cano, David Ortiz, and Evan Longoria. In the National League side, Troy Tulowitzki, Pablo Sandoval, Ryan Braun, Matt Kemp, is it Matt Morris, I believe? Giancarlo Stanton, Dan Uggla, Green, Yadi Molina, Brian LaHair, Michael Kadire, Victorino, the Flying Hawaiian, Mr. Pill. I gotta look him up. Pill. Was he real? Starlin Castro, and I'm guessing that's Jose Reyes, who is somebody that we almost picked up at one point in time. Pitching, Justin Verlander gets the start. It makes sense. He's on the cover of the game, so there's bias there. CC Sabathia, Jared Weaver, CJ Wilson, James Shields, Big Game James, Sergio Santos, Kyle Farnsworth, G. Moscoso, not sure, Matt Capps, and there it is, Mark Burley. He's listed as a reliever in here. That's lame. On the National League side, Clayton Kershaw is getting the start with a bullpen of Tim Lincecum, Cole Hamels, Adam Wainwright, Aaron Sanchez probably, Brian Wilson closing, Heath Bell, Drew Storen, Jonathan Papelbon, and Bud Norris. They definitely have some good arms in the bullpen, good actual bullpen arms. So let's do some comparing in real life, and I'm going to make sure that all the players that I'm going to mention here are actually somewhere in the game. They might not be right now. They actually probably are, since it's the first season of this game, but as we move forward, I'm going to have to keep adding more players. The American League lineup in real life was Mike Napoli at catcher, Prince Fielder, Robinson Cano, Adrian Beltre, Derek Jeter, Jose Bautista, Curtis Granderson, Josh Hamilton, and David Ortiz. In 2012, Derek Jeter, that was his 13th year, 13th All-Star game. On the bench, Joe Mauer, Matt Wieters, Paul Konerko, Ian Kinzer, Miguel Cabrera, Asdrubal Cabrera, Elvis Andrus, Adam Jones, Mike Trout, Mark Trumbo, Billy Butler, and White Sox Adam Dunn. National League side, it was Buster Posey at his first All-Star game, Joey Votto, Dan Uggla, Pablo Sandoval, Rafael Furcal, the Milkman, Melky Cabrera, Carlos Beltran, Matt Kemp, and Cargo, Carlos Gonzalez. The bench, Yadi Molina was on the bench in favor of Buster Posey. Chooch, Carlos Rodriguez, Brian LaHair, Jose Altuve had his first All-Star appearance this year. David Freese, David Wright, Chipper Jones, Starlin Castro, Ian Desmond, Michael Bourne, Ryan Braun, Jay Bruce, Bryce Harper, Matt Holliday, Andrew McCutchen, and Giancarlo Stanton. American League pitching, Ryan Cook, Yu Darvish, Matt Harrison, King Felix, Jim Johnson, Joe Nathan, Jake Peavy with the White Sox, Chris Perez, David Price, Fernando Rodney, CC Sabathia, Chris Sale. That was Chris Sale's first All-Star appearance. Justin Verlander, Jared Weaver, CJ Wilson. The National League pitchers were Matt Cain, Aroldis Chapman, R.A. Dickey, Gio Gonzalez, future White Sox. Well, I guess past and future White Sox at this point. Gio Gonzalez, Cole Hamels, Joel Hanrahan, Clayton Kershaw, Craig Kimbrell, Lance Lynn, a couple of familiar names there too. Wade Miley, back then, his first All-Star appearance with the Diamondbacks. Jonathan Papelbon, Steven Strasburg's first, and Houston Street. So there are a lot of names that appear both in the real-life All-Star game and in our simulated one, but some big missing names as well. Bryce Harper and Mike Trout being the biggest. Also within the game, the drafts has happened, and of course those are just nothing but computer-generated players. I took a look at players that were drafted in 2012. I'll be adding a whole bunch because, wow, it was a hell of a draft, especially if you're a Twins fan. And also I found that though I really thought the ideas were good, that if I create some AAA players that are highly regarded that ended up getting votes for Rookie of the Year this year, that they would get called up quickly. And that just didn't happen. I mean, a couple of them did. Yu Darvish is called up, but he is looking really bad so far. Yoenis Cespedes has gotten called up, and he has been streaky. He's had some good moments, but he's gotten sent down a lot too. So I think I've found that I really have to. Wow, the American League just put up a big crooked number. I found that I need to maybe create some players on the AAA side now, players that I know will get Rookie of the Year votes in 2013. So hopefully they can develop a little bit this year and then get the call early next year. We'll see how that goes. National League trying to make a comeback here. They've cut the lead or the deficit in half, and Sergio Santos closes it out. Desmond Jennings going 1 for 4 as the player of the game. As you saw, the team really does not need help anywhere. The trade I made earlier in the season has handled everything, and the White Sox rotation is insane. The bullpen is great. I guess we are one guy short maybe in the bullpen. So there was a name that I saw when I was watching the transactions wire, and he was a guy that was getting called up and sent down, former White Sox, and really that's the only reason I want to take a peek. I don't even know if he's on the big league squad at the moment with, there he is, John Rush. He's a 75 overall with more potential. You know what? This would be a fun and interesting pickup. I don't know how tradable he's going to be. So John Rush there, he's just on a 1-year contract. He's currently 3 stars, has the ability to go up to a 4. Let's see. I don't even remember how we lost him in real life. I mean, we could start with Scott Carroll and then add another minor leaguer. Let's see. That does not move the needle at all. so let's head on to the minor leagues, because we do have a handful of decent minor leaguers, arms that have some potential. Brian Omagroso was one. Again, real life players. Gregory Infante. Maybe I shouldn't trade him because he actually pitched with us for quite a bit. Let me see. Omagroso. Wow. They're pretty interested in that. Brian Omagroso is already 27 years old. His overall rating is just 60. He and Scott Carroll, they're going up. They're getting better. But Rosh, this looks like a really fun pickup. So again, a former White Sox arm re-added to our bullpen. So our one trade is made. I am going to simulate through the end of the trade deadline. We're going to probably get some weird offers. I can't imagine I'm going to take anything. But it's going to be really interesting to see if any trades go down across the league. Unlike some modern games, I don't have sliders to adjust how often trades happen, things like that, how often injuries happen, all that. This game is way more bare bones than even earlier 2K games, which is a little frustrating and annoying. But, we're working with what we got. Ooh, bad start. Lost the series against Kansas City. Trade offer. The O's have presented an offer. Chris Tillman and Jake Arrieta for Zach Stewart and Addison Reed. Again, in real life, that would be a really good trade. Recommendation decline, I agree. Ooh, just got swept against Minnesota. The Cubs want Yolmer for Scott Maine, a AAA closer. They're saying accept. I'm not going to. It's Yolmer. Come on, he's only 19. I mean, maybe he's peaked as far as the game is concerned, but I do not have any interest. You could argue that we are maybe a little bit thin with ready position players. I mean, we have people like Marcus Semien knocking on the door, but he's not ready yet. The White Sox, we still have a healthy lead, up 9 games over the Twins. The Tigers have just dropped. Twins passed the Tigers. Okay, so we are on the other side of the trade deadline now. I thought there was some notification or something. Let's see if anything happened interesting around the league. That's odd. So it was a super quiet deadline. Minor trade between the Orioles and Giants. Hopefully that changes in time. Could not let it go on that anticlimactic, very boring trade deadline, considering nothing really much was happening around the league. We will answer one question, though. Brett Pill was a real player. First baseman, pinch hitter, left fielder for the San Francisco Giants. He made his big league debut in 2011 and apparently really impressed the game designers and programmers. He played 15 games in 2011 with a 300 batting average, 881 on base plus slugging. In very limited action, he had 3 doubles, 2 triples, and 2 homers. So yeah, he had a really awesome cup of coffee for the Giants back in 2011. In 2012, he came back to play 48 games with different results, I guess we'll say. A 210 average, 618 on base plus slugging, which earned him another look in 2013, where he again got exactly 48 games of action. And again, kind of in the middle, I guess, but closer to the low side. 224 average with a 648 on base plus slugging. He played for parts of 3 seasons, logged a total of 56 hits. Hey, that's 56 more hits than I have in the big league. So good job to him. And you know what, Brett Pill, this guy who got just a little bit of time in the big leagues, made an all-star game in our version of the big league. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how that moves forward. It's gotten more and more difficult for me to make the pick-to-click videos because MLB is just ratcheting back on everything, even their own website. And even this video, I just wanted to look up information about the 2012 White Sox. Now, granted, fortunately, there are a lot of other sites out there like Fangraphs and Baseball Reference, but the MLB site, they're just stripping everything out of it. It's crazy. how much MLB does not mind screwing their fans. As we love this sport and we want to cheer it on and support it, it could at least maintain a fan experience on their website in a virtual social media space. But yeah, I guess I'm gonna just rant and rave, get off my lawn, which has made it a little bit difficult to want to make videos as well. I still do want to make videos where, okay, the White Sox, let's say the CBA happens and we have 2 weeks to fix the team. Part of me wants to do videos that talk about that. Part of me doesn't want to talk about or think about any of that right now because it is a bit of a down time. But I will still stay positive and optimistic. We're going to have baseball. It's going to be great. We probably won't miss very many more games than have already been canceled. And I still think that there's the chance that they can build in some double headers into the schedule and still have a 162-game season, even though there's so much posturing and positioning going on right now that you can't really take any side at their word for what's going on. Thank you all for just bearing with this terrible time as we are still in a lockout deep into the off season. Things will get better. We will have baseball and we will be able to celebrate together and go to games together. I do want to find ways to actually have Brushback baseball day at the park so that we can meet up anybody that's in the area and we can really celebrate the sport that we love. Hope everybody's doing well, staying optimistic. It's cold today as I'm recording this, but we have some nice weather coming, so hopefully we can get outside and enjoy life a little bit outdoors. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.